Hello. All right. As always, my name is Heikal. I'm from Herohomes, and today we're going to be doing a new kind of video format, more of a presentation style, and that's why I'm using this microphone thing connect to my so they can hear me clearer. Let me just do a full screen. Okay. So I'm going to be sharing with you the fact that HDB prices has hit an 8-year high, almost an all-time high, and this was in 2020. Currently in 2021, we are entering August, April now, and the effect is still the same. HDB prices are still sky high compared to the past 3-4 years. All right, and this has impacted many home buyers and home sellers as well on the other side, to the point that buyers have to and are willing to pay above the valuation. Now, this term would be familiar to home buyers of the older generation, right? Cash over valuation. It was the norm back in the day. For the past 3-4 years, COV was almost muted, almost not there. Some people believe that COV has been taken out completely out of the game by HDB. Not true. Today has come back with a vengeance. Like for this guy, this person, Miss Nirmala, she was willing to pay 45,000 cash in cash money above the valuation. So what happened was she possibly bought, example, she bought property for 545,000. After she agreed with the seller, she placed a deposit of 1,000 maybe, and then she had to apply for valuation. Valuation states that the value of the house is 500,000. So now she has to pay 45,000 in cash, which cannot be covered through loan, cannot be covered through CPF. Not here to talk about COV, talk about that in another video. And then here she said, our agent did not preempt us. Our agent did not preempt us. To be honest, it took many of us, it took me, so long to get used to the new norm. So many years we were telling our clients, don't expect COV, don't expect COV, then suddenly, boom, we have like easily 45, but that's on the high side, to say. I think average now is around 15, 5, 10, 15, 20,000 COV that buyers are prepared to pay. Yeah. See, it stated that they were expecting to pay, but they didn't expect it to be so high up. All right. So what does that mean? Or rather, how did we get here from so many years of no COV environment? Just to get you guys up to speed, the black line would be the average, the price index of HDB flat resale flat prices over time. The green line, important to know, green line are the number of units sold in a month. All right, so as you can see in the past, property prices were going up, and then every now and then there's like the prices will stagnate for a while, go up again, stagnate for a while, go up again. Why? Basically, back then, remember Singaporeans were complaining HDB prices were too high, too expensive because we have PRs in the market. PR is what? Permanent residents who are able to pay 50K cash. They can outmuscle Singaporeans. So a lot of complaints and all that. So what the government did was they blocked PRs from immediately buying HDB. They have to wait 3 years after their PR. Only then they can apply to buy a resale. Then government also implemented that they have to pay additional taxes compared to Singaporeans. So for example, if they're buying a 4-room at 400,000, they probably have to pay extra 35, 40K, not to the seller, but to IRAS. Mm-hmm. Okay. But no matter what they did, prices still went up and up and up and up until sometime in 2013 for two reasons. One is the MSR, the loan ratio thing that they implemented. You cannot borrow as much suddenly in 2013. But I think just as important, and something I've done some research on, would be the influx of BTO from 2012 onwards. As you can see, the volume from 2012 suddenly drop. Okay, and then it coincided later on with the flat prices going down. Okay, now what do I have to show? This. Got this from teoalida.com. You can Google it up. All right, somewhere on the website, they actually indicated, they broke down the number of units launched BTO launch every quarter. So I tabulated year after year after year after year. You can see, 2011 onwards, there was a spike. I mean, back then it was like 2,000 units, 5,000 units only sold in BTO launch. Suddenly in 2011 onwards, 25, 27, 27, 25, 22, it's like 100,000 units in 4 years. I don't know how big that is. Probably the entire Punggol. I might be wrong. Someone fact check me and comment, please. So you can see when they launched in 2011, it will complete in 2014. Okay, that's not the point of the research. Let me go back to the same. So now you see, 2011 to 2014. All right, this is the, I need to go back. All right, so 2011, 2012 until 2014, prices started to drop. BTOs were launched heavily. And then after that, 2015 onwards, prices started to stagnate a little bit. It's a bit of history. What's history? Some correlates research work. And then you see 2015 onwards, they reduced the number of BTO flats. Why? Possibly prices has dropped to a level which is deemed acceptable. I don't know, it's just assumption. All right, but otherwise, why would they stop the launch, the BTO launch, right? Why would they slow down the BTO launch, right? As you can see, the volume of transaction of resale flats started to pick up a little bit, but prices maintained. And then if you remember, sometime in 2017, people started to talk about older flats becoming a bit undesirable a little bit. And then, all right, that's a lot of points there. The point is why prices today has gone up. Okay. If you notice the previous, I only stopped at March 2020. Why? Because of circuit breaker lah. Now, suddenly circuit breaker here, see the volume previously was 1,005, 1,008, 1,007 per month. Suddenly it dropped to as good as zero lah. Why? Because circuit breaker, people cannot go out, cannot buy houses. So we expected for the next 1 or 2 months, there would be pent-up demand. That means that volume will increase over the past few months, right? Will increase more than the past few months did. That's fine, that's expected. But what was not expected was after July, August, then look at the price, Yep, prices just went up. And then after August, jump. Then after that, November, relax a bit. Why? Jump again. So I believe it. I mean, it coincided with the launches of BTOs in 2020. If you remember, there was a deferment of BTO launch in March and May. Okay, and they deferred the launch all the way till August. So what happened? They deferred the BTO. This was in 2020. They deferred, and back then they didn't know when yet. All right, but eventually it got launched in August. All right, and then in August you don't have just one BTO launch. Technically, you had 3 launches at the same time. The Q1 launch, Q2 launch, and Q3 launch all together at the same time, which is why you see Woodlands, there's like 2 estates. Tampines, there's like 1, 2, 3 estates. Ang Mo Kio, Pasir Ris, Geylang, Tengah, all these are so many estates. Usually they only launch like 2 or 3 estates per launch. Okay, but the thing that made a difference in the market was this estimated completion time. Remember, this was 2020. You apply in 2020 August. You will only get the key in 2024, 2026. That means if you are getting married in 2020, 2021, you apply, you get the selection. You will only see the house 6 years later. If you have a child, your child is almost entering primary 1. And then where do you stay for the next 6 years? Parents' house, of course. Not everyone wants to do that. All right. And immediately that cost, I mean, most people will tap out. I mean, every single estate, see, 4 to 6 years. This is 5 years. This is 5 years, but this is the worst, I think. Urban Bill, 6 years, completing 7 years. All right. So what happened was, as you can see, in August, August, right? People saw that it will take 6 years. Following month, everyone entered the market because you see, pent-up demand would have eased up after 1 or 2 months max. Suddenly in August, the demand volume maintained above 2,000, and then prices shot up. And then in February this year, February 2020, same thing. The next, in November. November was the next BTO launch, right? And then same thing, if you Google HDB BTO launch November, you see how long it takes, still 4 to 6 years. That's why probably there's a rest period, people relax a bit. Then after that, people enter the market again. BTO buyers entered the resale market again. And on the ground, as a seller's agent, I'm selling more houses to direct buyers than to my fellow co-broke agents. Yeah. And these buyers are willing to pay, because to them, they would rather pay a slightly higher price for resale than wait 6 years for BTO, right? Now, my point. Okay, that's sort of what I prepared. Let's see. Right. Okay, so the point is, nobody wants to see the delay forever. Am I right? Yes, I am. Okay, BTO projects to be among the first to restart after circuit breaker. That means BTO is the priority. Nation building. Okay, it's very nice. It's Yishun. Wow, looks like Commonwealth. Looks like Alexandra there. Yep, BTO is a priority for HDB for construction projects in Singapore over condos, I guess, over industrial estates, I guess. That means that the moment they can, whenever they can, they will speed up the building process for BTOs. Take note. And then here's the interesting part. When I was doing my research, I realized that July 2020, they said BTOs will be delayed up to 9 months. Okay, so if you remember previously, how long did BTO estates take to complete? All right, this was in 2017. 2017, as fast as 2.5 years. Average was, I think, 3 years, 3.5. Longest be four. Four was considered very long. When I want to apply for my own BTO, I saw 4 years. I cannot think already. I don't want already, But they were already preparing for 2.5 years before COVID. So how long do you think? Now that's my point. Here they're saying 9 months delay. So if the average was 2.5, 3 years, why are we seeing 4 to 6 years completion? All right, possibly it's a buffer. All right, I think they're always prudent in that sense, conservative in terms of the time planning aspect. They don't want to overpromise because back then this was in August. Take note. Back August we had no news of vaccination yet. We didn't know there was no vaccine out yet. Today in the last 10 days, there's so much news about vaccination. My mom has been first vaccination done already. Some of my friends have done the double shot already. And let me get to the next point. So, how long will the current timeline of 4 to 6 years that BTOs will take to complete? How long will it last? Next, another 1 year, 2 year that they are just announcing is 4 year. Expect 4 to 6 years, 4 to 6 years, 4 to 6 years. All right, this will make a difference because the moment BTO reverts back to 2.5 to 3 years completion, what do you think will happen to the demand in the resale market? Demand in resale market will flow back to the BTO market. Possible? I think it will. I think it will. Now, so we only need to see this being announced by HDB, and I can expect prices to take a sharp fall. As sharp as it rose back then, as sharp as it dropped, I think the same thing will happen. Sharp rise, followed by a sharp drop. Right. Before I move on to my continuing slides. Okay. So if you open. Okay, let's just ignore. As you can see, we are almost at the peak in the past. We are almost touching the peak of the past prices really. All right. And then if you look at the volume, 2000, 2000, 2000, above 2000, we've never touched above 2000 consecutively for the past 10 years ever. All has been There you go. All has been below 2000. At best, 1005, 1007, 1005, 1007, 1005, 1007. You know. So once the demand flows out of resale, I believe price for resale flats will also revert back to normal. Maybe it won't be so low anymore. Maybe we've crossed a certain level where it will just maintain at average of 440, 450 PSF. Okay. Um, Now, what's positive takeaway for this situation? I mean, sorry, let me talk about negative first. I can't see any positive um, outcome for first-time home buyers because essentially you're buying the same property that is costing you maybe 5-10% higher, not 10%, I mean 5% higher than what it should have been 2 years ago, 1 year ago, just a short 6 months ago, maybe. Prices shouldn't be this level. Doesn't seem sustainable. There's no fundamentals to support, in my opinion. But if you're an upgrader, I do see some positives in the situation because you are a seller first. You're selling in a high market. All right, that's the only positive lah. And then because if you are selling high and you buy another HDB, sell high, buy high, negate no difference, right? Doesn't matter because in the past you're selling low, buying low also. Now when you're selling high, that means you're getting a lot more cash profits that you can carry forward to reduce the loan of your next flat and all that. So it really plays out evenly lah. All right, but there's also two types of upgraders. There's someone who upgrades to a bigger HDB flat or someone who upgrades to a private property. Now, as I mentioned, if you go to another HDB flat, you sell high, buy high. But if you buy a private property, it looks like you are buying something which is still reasonably priced. All right. Wait, I'm missing one article here. Yeah, here it says that HDB upgraders are helping to boost new condo prices, right? But for resale prices, it's still just about to start the increase, I guess. All right, yeah, okay. So it depends. If you're selling high and buying a reasonably priced asset, which is a private property, in my opinion, today, then that's a super positive lah. Sell high, buy low. Who doesn't want that? But if you are a first-time home buyer, clearly you are paying. And so where do I go with this? My advice would be if you can wait. Or actually later. I talk about it later on. Moving on to the next slide. I think I'm rambling already. So what happens just think about it. What happens when Singapore is 100% vaccinated? Our migrant workers, our construction workers are fully vaccinated. Even as of today, already announced, work from home is no longer the default mode. So it looks like we are trying to go back to the previous norm that we are also used to. The previous norm is 2.5 to 3 years BTO waiting period. And then even in April last year, they're saying that after construction, I guess now on hindsight, they should have said after vaccination, they will speed up the construction of BTO flats. Don't know whether this was never mind. So the question is, when we enter the new norm, when everyone is fully vaccinated, is it still going to take 4 to 6 years for a BTO estate to complete? If yes, then I just wasted 20 minutes of your time watching this video. Okay, but otherwise, my personal opinion is that I think it will go back to 2.5 years to 3 years to complete a simple BTO estate. And when that happens, maybe they will announce it in the next BTO launch, which is in May 2021. Maybe that's too soon. Then they would maybe announce they will roll back the construction period only in end of the year, Q4. You get my point, right? I mean, probably the thing is we don't know. I'm just hoping that it'll be faster than everyone expects. Hopefully the next BTO or the next two BTO they will announce that construction will no longer take 4 to 6 years. All right. So for first-time home buyers, I'm almost done. First-time home buyers, if you have the opportunity to wait, please wait out. Don't enter the market now. Yeah. Because if you can wait for a BTO, yeah lah, by all means lah. I don't think, even if they say 6 years, I don't think it will take 6 years. I think this is just a buffer. But yeah, lah, who am I, lah? So I think this is probably, yeah, not something most agents would want to share with. Um, but yeah, I feel you will definitely be able to buy the same kind of house next year without any COV, hopefully, because otherwise something else will, I mean, maybe another round of cooling measures will come into play. But I don't think there's not much, I don't think we're going to need any kind of tricky cooling measure to bring down the price. In the past, they tried so many things to bring down the price. I think today all they need to do is to announce that BTO construction is not going to take 4 to 6 years. That's it. Okay. All right. Thanks for my face. Yeah. Thanks for watching. If you're still here, please share and like this video. 21 minutes. Wow. Thank you. Bye bye.